For even more updates on Stephen King's It, The Dark Tower, and The Mist, be sure to check out hybridnetworkyt.com.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome back to the Hybrid Network and another one of our topic discussions covering one of Stephen King's greatest literary achievements, set to become its own feature-length movie this year, The Dark Tower. Today I wanted to look into one of the few complaints I've seen regarding the film's production concerning the lack of two very prominent characters within the framework of the story, Susannah and Eddie Dean. There's a main group that comprises the Dark Tower, a wandering band that all come together to aid Roland on his quest to find the Obsidian Tower, known as a quartet. Okay, so without getting into the crux of what exactly a quartet is, just know that it's essentially a group of individuals brought together by the Ka of the universe. And that in this instance, we're discussing the group of individuals brought together to help Roland on his quest to save the tower, and by extension, the entirety of the multiverse from the machinations of the Man in Black and the Crimson King. Of these individuals, Eddie Dean and Susannah Dean are huge, tantamount aspects of the story, and are great companions to Roland on his quest. Not to mention that they're huge fan favorites as well, both of them adding a special layer of depth to Roland's group and undergoing their own dynamic character growth throughout the saga. So I guess the biggest question here is, where are they? Well, sadly, they're not going to be in the movie. I mean, this was confirmed about a year ago anyway, but the why escapes a lot of the fans of the source material. I think the biggest thing to take away from this is 2 points. Number one, it's easier on a general audience to start this franchise with a small number of characters. Sure, it'd be great to have Susannah and Eddie in the picture. It'd be great to see Odetta and Detta acting opposite of each other against the band of characters, or to see Eddie come into his own and overcome his drug addiction, but with having so many elements present, each character gets less and less time within the story to be fully realized. The movie itself is only roughly an hour and a half long. You've got so much you have to get through while also creating the foundations for a continuing franchise should the movie be received favorably. It's way easier for not only the creative forces, but also the audience if you only have two characters to focus on and develop further. There's enough time in the future to see Eddie and Susannah grow when the franchise continues on, and I mean, if it doesn't, then their memory can be held within the fan base itself. Number two, even if they were to be included, and while this story is technically a sequel to the books, Eddie and Susannah didn't even really appear until the second installment anyway. Again, liberties could definitely be taken with this movie, considering the place within the series and the implications it has for the whole Wheel of Ka ideology that King pushes forward. But if you're trying to push a story based mostly on the first book, it might seem a hell of a lot harder work than necessary to bring in characters that aren't established until a later installment anyway. There definitely could have been a way, sure, but sacrificing a story that's pretty straightforward, as straightforward as The Dark Tower can get, to include more characters just seems like a disservice to those characters and to the story itself. Bringing to life a vision of the series, of one cog in the expansive saga, is far more important than trying to appease fans that love those characters. Fans are important, granted, but you have to do what's best for the story. And the creative forces seem to think that Eddie and Susannah would disrupt this chapter of their take on that story. And that's okay. Hell, I mean, even Stephen King is okay with it, knowing that they'll both be brought in when the time is right, so maybe, just maybe, patience is key here. Look, the fact is, the world has waited this long for a Dark Tower movie to be developed. I think it can wait a little longer for Eddie and Susannah to grace the screens as well. But that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you all for tuning in, and stick with the Hybrid Network for more discussions on the Dark Tower and other Stephen King stories. My name is Luke, and I'll catch you all next time.